Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Aging Games podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about body image for women, which is a huge issue for so many women around the world. And I have a very special guest for you guys today. I have Dr. Ellen Albertson with me. Ellen, welcome to the program. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Lynn. It is a pleasure to finally meet you and have this incredible conversation because honestly, body image at midlife is something that we don't talk enough about. And the majority of women at midlife are struggling with it. And it affects so many things. So I'm really excited
I agree.
to
I
dig
agree
in.
with you completely. Ellen, tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, and what makes you an expert on this topic.
Well, I'm known as the Midlife Whisperer, and I have been working with midlife women my entire career. So since I became a registered dietitian, that was sort of my entry into health and wellness. I started working with midlife women because they're the ones, let's face it, midlife, it's the time where your body starts to speak up if you haven't been taking good care of yourself. So they were coming with energy and weight gain and high cholesterol and high blood pressure. So I started my career as a dietitian. And then I had a stint, which we were talking off the camera. I was the cooking couple with my ex-husband. So I was a celebrity chef in the 90s. Then I became a personal fitness trainer. And this is where, and I'll tell my story, in a moment about my own negative body image, where my negative body image went haywire. And then I became a coach, eventually became a board certified health and wellness coach. And then I became a PhD psychologist, which is where I found self-compassion, which is kind of the antidote for so many things, including negative body image. And I would say my qualifications, have more degrees than a thermometer, but I think, I've worked with thousands of women at midlife, and I've been through it myself. I've survived empty nest and divorce and menopause and all of it. And so, like you, I take a real holistic approach, a real natural approach, with really starting with this idea that, you are not broken. And this time of menopause is this incredible gateway for transformation. I think it's the most exciting time. And if you know how to, what I call dragonfly your way through it, I help women with dragonfly. It's a very different metamorphosis than the butterfly. You can come out the other end and just look around and go, wow, I really like this second adulthood that I'm creating for myself. So that's a little bit about me and what I do.
That's beautiful. I love that. And the Chinese call menopause the second spring. Have you heard that before?
Yes, I have. And
And I
I've
think that's just such a beautiful way to look at it, right?
It is. And when I think about that dragonfly metaphor, we think about the butterfly, and we all know that
Yeah.
metamorphosis of the caterpillar and the cocoon and breaking free. But the dragonfly, we don't talk enough about. And I feel like dragonflies are really for women. And what happens with the dragonfly is they spend 2 years underneath the water, like they're basically eating fish. They're in this nymph stage. And then just one evening in the middle of the night, they crawl up a stalk of grass or a reed. They push their water in their bodies into their wings. They unfurl their thorax and they become the dragonfly like that. No, no struggle, no pain, no suffering. And I feel like that's kind of the way that I work with my clients is kind of inside out transformation. When we raise our frequency, when we understand that we're energetic beings, when we kind of cut all this crap that we're told we have to look a certain way, behave a certain way, and we tune into who am I really? How do I want to feel? Then things start to change on the outside. So often we're trying to change things on the outside, thinking we'll feel better on the inside, but it's an inside out world. And that's what my work in dragon flying is all about, is having this inside out transformation.
That's beautiful. I had no idea about dragonflies. I did not know that. I know they were very symbolic and spiritual, but I had no idea about the transformation, and that rapid transformation is very inspiring. I love that. And so why do you think, let's start with like younger women, because this issue begins much earlier than menopause. Just that menopause, it kind of hits us even harder, or hits us again. But I think for a lot of women, and even young girls, it probably starts with puberty. Would you say that?
I think it starts before that. I mean, we're
Even
seeing,
before.
6, 7, 8-year-olds who are, worrying about their bodies. When we're young, it's like we're taking in everything, right?
Yeah.
And we're hearing, our moms, we're listening to media, and we live in this culture that tells women and girls, females, basically that your looks are the most important thing about you, which is totally BS,
Yeah.
and that you have to be look a certain way, which is thin and beautiful, in order to be acceptable. So it's this double whammy that happens when, particularly when we get to be menopause. We're no longer youthful unless we want to stay on this treadmill and try to, deface ourselves and have a lot of plastic surgery. And I'm all for do whatever makes you feel good. But I think it
Yeah.
gets to this place where we're so focused on that. And I think that midlife is really the time where you get this inner radiance and beauty because of the wisdom. But it's really, we live in this diet culture, we live in this youth obsessed culture, we live in this like thinner is better culture. And we're getting those messages. And again, getting this message that our looks are the most important thing about us. And it's all to keep women small and trapped, right? If we were
Yeah.
like our fierce dragon flying selves, like if all the women decided, like, you know what, I'm just going to feel good in my skin. I'm going to do what makes me feel beautiful. I'm not going to compare myself to these unrealistic images and do all of these BS solutions to try to look acceptable. Where would we be, right?
Mm.
Instead of chasing it. But I think part of it, the thing too, and I noticed this with the clients I work through going through menopause. First of all, they do the same. They try to handle the weight gain, which is
Mhm.
natural when you're going through menopause. We naturally gain weight. It's the way the body tries to, continue to create some estrogen. And so they cut their calories and they do so much cardio, and that creates,
Mhm.
of course, more cortisol, which is kind of like throwing gasoline on the fire. And they keep trying to look like their 30-year-old self.
Yeah.
And and they think that, well, if I just focus on this, then I'll feel better about myself. And this was kind of my situation in my 40s. I was a personal fitness trainer. So I was one of
Mhm.
those like super cut up, working 4 to 6 hours a day, barely eating anything. And no matter how much I worked out, how thin I was, how cut up I was, I still hated my body because body image has nothing to do with your body. Body image is in your head. It's
Mhm.
how you see your body. And let's face it, you never really see yourself. It's how you see your body, how you feel in your body, how you feel about your body, how you perceive your body. So my work now is so much more about love your beautiful self. And then the body image starts to resolve.
Yeah.
So it's a big problem though, because women are just trained to focus on our looks and focus on being thin and youthful.
And it's so sad because that is not our only value, how we look. I mean, how sad is that? And I mean, with growing up, we were looking at the supermodels back in the 80s, 90s, the supermodels, the singers, you were inspired by that. And you're thinking, oh, I have to look like this, I have to look like them. And now it's so much worse for the young girls because you've got all these influencers who they don't even look like that, what you're seeing online, right? And it's just, there's so much pressure. And for some reason, people always judge us. Like the first thing they'll say, even when they're making comments online or something, you're talking about a serious issue or something, they'll be, oh, you look beautiful, or your hair looks great today, or your body looks nice. But they never look at your message or what you're trying to
Yeah.
say. And they're always commenting on your outer experience or outer appearance. And even women do that to each other, which
Yeah,
I
it's so
find really strange, right? Because we do hold much more value than just the way we look.
Yeah, it is. I think that social media has really amplified that. That's another
Yeah.
issue is the social comparison. I love the posts that you put up a while back showing the Golden Girls and showing Sophia Vargas. And
Yeah.
it's like, yes, we can be sexy and strong and, we're not like these, cardigan wearing women.
Yeah.
But now there's this pressure
Yeah.
to look like that
Yeah.
and, to get procedures and do things to try to look like your younger self. And I
Yeah.
think that, like you said, we are so focused on looks. And I'm all about looking cute, I
Yeah,
like looking cute,
absolutely.
wearing
But I mean, when these
little,
people overdo it, it actually backfires. And I see a lot of young girls, in their 20s getting all this Botox fillers, all this crazy stuff. And they actually look like 40-year-olds trying to look like 20-year-olds rather than 20. Like, it does not make you look younger. Young girls, if you're watching this, like, it just doesn't make you look younger. And I don't know what happens if you start doing all this crap to your face in your 20s. Like, what are you going to do when you're 50, when you're 60?
yeah, there's some interesting pictures out there about what happens when you starve yourself and you're super skinny, you get all of these
Yeah.
procedures, what you're gonna look at. I think it really takes the focus away from health and well-being. Like we're both about like how to be
Mhm.
healthy.
Yeah.
And honestly, I've never felt more attractive, but I don't care as much. It's just because I'm really healthy and I'm really happy. And I've also learned self-compassion, which if you're listening, if you want to feel better about your body, you don't have to change your body. I'll say that again. If you want to feel good about your body and more importantly, yourself, it really starts with being kinder to yourself. And what my research showed is that practicing self compassion for only an hour a week statistically improved. Body dissatisfaction went down, body shame went down, self worth based on appearance went down, and body appreciation went up. So simply treating yourself the way you would a good friend, being kind rather than critical, understanding common humanity. We all make mistakes, we all age, we all live in imperfect bodies. And then this mindfulness piece of noticing when I'm stressed and struggling, when I'm tired, when, I've been through something, what do I need right now? And it's honestly, it really works. I look in the mirror now and I love who and what I see. And that's what my clients have found too. And the other piece that's so destructive about negative body image is that it's associated with depression, with anxiety, with eating disorders. And I don't know if you've noticed this with the women that you see online, but there are so many midlife women who are their eating disorders are resurfacing
Yeah,
because it's
yeah,
like, okay, I'm gaining weight because of menopause, so I'm going to go and I'm going to kill myself at the gym. I'm going to starve myself.
yeah,
And midlife is not the time when you do that, ladies. It's the time when you need to take better care of yourself.
yeah. I agree. Can we talk about your research a little bit? Because I read your research paper and I found it absolutely fascinating. So tell us about this, the research and the body image and the meditations and how it can improve someone's life. I do love your meditations, by the way. Thank you so much for the
Oh,
meditations you sent me. I love them. You're amazing and your voice is just so soothing.
oh, thank you so much. So I'll just say initially I had horrible body image and I went and got my PhD in psychology because I wanted to be like, I don't know if you remember Jillian Michaels. I wanted to be kind of a
Uh-huh.
smarter psychologist and make everybody thin because I honestly believe that everybody could be thin and everybody should be thin. And that's something that we're sold that everybody can be a skinny mini. And it's like, would you make a Great Dane turn into a Chihuahua? Of course not. We're all
Yeah,
different shapes and sizes, and
yeah,
that's totally, totally cool. So I was a trainer, horrible negative body image, went back for my PhD. And what I discovered is like the media and the diet culture makes you feel terrible about yourself so they can sell you things. And so
yeah,
it kind of, I did this 180 where I was like, oh my gosh, I have to find a way to help women feel better about their bodies and themselves. My dissertation chair recommended that I do something around meditation. So I started kind of Googling and finding psychologists who knew about like meditation. And I was fortunate enough to meet Kristen Neff, who is the pioneer in this whole area of self-compassion. And she agreed to be on my dissertation committee if I took the mindful self-compassion training. So I did that. She, encouraged me to practice. I really started practicing self-compassion, which is just being kinder to yourself. And then what we did for the research is we recruited about 500 women. Half of the women got the meditation podcast, so that meditation training. So there were basically three. One was kind of like a body scan, one was like a basic self-compassion, and one was self-compassion for yourself and others. And so we had them listen to them just for 3 weeks. We asked them to do it daily, but most people did it about 3 times a week for about an hour a week. And there was a statistically significant difference in the people who were in the intervention group, the people who listened to the meditations, and the people who were on the weight control, which was fascinating that you can change your body image, how you feel about yourself, reduce things like body shame and body dissatisfaction simply by practicing self-compassion. So that's what I teach now. And what's really cool is I have so many clients who've spent decades dieting, beating their bodies up, never feeling good about themselves. And literally within weeks, they shift and it goes from like I'm denying myself food and I've got to earn my food, right? We've all heard that, and my body isn't good enough, to wow, I'm listening to my hunger, because self-compassion is also correlated with intuitive eating. And so
mhm,
intuitive eating is about listening to your body. Your body knows what it needs. It's like, would you like tell a baby like you're too chubby, don't eat? Of course
yeah,
not, right?
yeah,
Like babies know when they're hungry and they know when they're full. We have that same mechanism, but what we've done is we've externalized our hunger by a piece of paper that tells us how many calories or how many macros we're supposed to eat. So when I start with my clients with self-compassion, everything changes. Their eating habits change, their body image changes. And my research, it was really an incredible confirmation that something as simple as being kinder to yourself can totally transform your self-concept and your body image.
what I find so fascinating is that you can actually improve your self-confidence and your self-worth and everything through meditations, through something as simple as like a daily or, weekly meditation that can have such a huge impact on your life. That's incredible.
Well, you're rewiring your brain. And
Yeah.
so we used to think that, after the age of 18 or 20, our brains were sort of set. But we now
Hmm.
know that there's this thing called neuroplasticity. So, yes, when you're meditating, when you're repeating, may I be safe, may I be happy, may I be healthy, may I be at ease, when you're sending love and kindness to your body parts, doing this kind of body scan, your body's listening, right? Your mind is changing, you're rewiring your stories because the stories that we tell ourselves, whether it's about our bodies, our life, our self-worth, that's what ends up showing up in our life. It's not just woo. We
Yeah.
have this, reticular activating system, which is part of our brains, that our brains are kind of scanning our environment constantly for our truth. So if we believe like I'm no good, I'm worthless, I hate my body, well, that's what's going to show up.
Yeah.
And when you shift through things like meditation and affirmations and intention setting, everything changes. I know for me, I was in a marriage where I was really criticized. We fought all the time. It was terrible. And I didn't love myself. When I learned self-compassion, I stopped doing the things that insulted my soul. And I
Mhm.
started to really manifest and attract what was truly in my best interest. So I think when we meditate, we come online and we're so much more peaceful and so much calmer, which of course is helping us physiologically because
Yeah.
everything's related to cortisol and stress.
Absolutely. Speaking of men, what role do they play in the way we feel about ourselves as women?
Wow, it depends on which, or did you say men? Which men we're
Men,
talking
men
about,
in
right?
general, like, because there's a huge pressure, and obviously most women want to look good for men in general. So that also puts a big pressure on us. Of course, we want to look good for other women, and especially social media and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, if you're trying to attract a man or trying to look good for your husband or for your boyfriend, that's also a big pressure. And some men are very helpful when it comes to that and very accepting and loving. But then, we do have these critical men that put this huge pressure on us to look a certain way.
Yeah, I would say if you're in that kind of relationship, the
You're in the wrong
relationship, you're in
relationship.
the wrong relationship. I mean, my man now is like just adores all of me, but I think that in this point in life, it's so much more about your vibe, your frequency, that inner glow. And I think it was, I'm trying to think of the actress, Annie McDowell. She was saying
Mhm.
and maybe you posted it, she had a reporter say, you know, how does it feel not to be beautiful anymore? And she looked at her and she was like, what do you mean I'm not beautiful anymore? And she said, when you get to be at midlife, you get to be a certain age, there's a different light in your eyes. There's a confidence, there's a glow if you are in alignment with your soul and your true self. So I think that the men who have matured too, and I think a lot of men there's more men who are emotionally available
Yeah.
and are, much more enlightened. They're not looking for that. They don't want, a 30-year-old. They want someone their age. They want companionship. They want love. And the men are going through things too, right? They're
Yeah.
changing. Their testosterone's going down, and they're, struggling with some of their, whether it's baldness or a little bit of a beer belly, whatever it is. So I think that if if you're in a relationship and someone is critical of you, perhaps you're in the wrong relationship. Your relationship needs help or it's not the right relationship for you. I don't think that anybody deserves to be criticized. I mean, our bodies are amazing.
Yeah.
37 trillion cells all working together to keep us alive. Everybody's body is beautiful. Everybody's body is amazing. And we need to internalize the message of just how incredible our bodies are because, the way we talk to our bodies really matters.
And we are walking miracles. I mean, just that in itself, it's incredible. Do you think, as we start accepting ourselves, and for example, someone that's struggling with their weight, and you learn to love yourself as you are and at the way that you are, would that actually help you lose weight down the line? Or will it make you more attractive if you accept and love yourself exactly as you are? Would you be more attractive to the outside world?
Absolutely, because that radiates. When you love yourself, that's the energy, the frequency that you're putting out there. You're putting out this energy is, I am lovable. I
Hmm.
feel good about me. And so, yes, you definitely feel more attractive. And the interesting thing in my work is that I work with a lot of women who are emotional eaters. They're having that glass of wine, the threesome with Ben and Jerry's, and binging on
Oh my
Netflix because
God.
well, it's what, we're numbing out,
Yeah.
whether it's because we feel bad about ourselves, we're stressed out, we're looking at the media. And when they start to practice self-compassion, feel good about themselves, you can give yourself self-compassion instead of going for the dopamine. What they're doing is you have a difficult emotion. I don't look at
Mhm.
emotions as good or bad, but a difficult emotion. Maybe you're feeling sad, maybe you're feeling lonely, maybe you're, feeling anxious. And rather than applying this compass of self-compassion, like I'm here for me, what do I need right now? We go right to, I want to feel better. I want something to eat. I want something to drink. I want to be distracted. And let's face it, it's so easy with these cell phones, right? To just go into that dopamine place. And with
Yeah.
self-compassion, what we're doing is there's a chemical called oxytocin, which is the mammalian chemical of care and connection. We can generate oxytocin by being kind to ourselves, by things like soothing touch, or, we can also generate really great hormones that are positive and things like meditation. And we become, yes, more attractive, more confident. And so instead of going to the dopamine, if the cortisol's up because we're stressed, the oxytocin is a different kind of chemical response that we can generate instead. And I totally feel like women who love themselves are so attractive. There's nothing more attractive than a woman who knows herself, loves herself, accepts herself. And then you don't even care what other people think about
Yeah.
you. You just feel good in your skin.
You just vibrate on a totally different level, and you tend to attract people that are vibrating on the same level as well. Do you find that?
Absolutely. Well, everything is vibration. And
Yeah.
so I know work a lot with what's called human design, which is really your blueprint, your frequency. And
Mhm.
so we tend to attract people. If we're at a high vibe, we're going to
Mhm.
attract people, activities, things that are high vibe. And if
Yeah.
we're low vibe, we're going to, attract things that are at that low vibe. So when I work with people, it's always about raising your frequency, like looking at and not getting rid of the shadow, but saying, oh, wow. I'm in this shadow place. Where
Mhm.
is this gift that I can activate instead? And so I can shift to a higher vibration.
Beautiful. I love that. I totally love that. And you're in Costa Rica right now, right?
Yes.
And we were talking about Costa Rica and how women are different there. Tell us
Yes,
a
I've
little
been
bit about that.
noticing. Yeah, and my Spanish isn't great, but I find I live 5 minutes from the beach, and
Mhm.
I see women of all shapes, sizes, ages, wearing string bikinis, letting it all just be out there, having a great time. I don't see this quite the same pressure and self-consciousness. Like I work with so many women who don't even want to put on a bathing suit, let
Yeah.
alone a string bikini, don't even want
Yeah.
to wear shorts.
Yeah.
There's been some research out there, like 40 to 50% of women in the summer don't want to go and do fun things because they don't want to wear lighter clothing. And that is just crazy to think about missing the beach or the pool or, you know, the lake, wherever you like to hang out because you feel self-conscious. But I find that Costa Rican women seem to have more body consciousness, more comfortable in their skin and are not, doesn't seem like they have the same level of negative body image. Although I think that, they're getting the pressure of media too, because I do see
Yeah.
signs for like breast, implants and
Yeah.
plastic surgery. And I know like, especially in the big cities, that's becoming more prevalent. So there is that more of that pressure as they kind of become more westernized.
Do you find the beauty standards there different from North America?
I don't honestly know because I don't really have any beauty standards. I don't even,
Mhm.
I don't even know like I do look at the women and they're just beautiful. I think that the beauty is really because people are so happy here.
Yeah.
First of all, it's sunny every day.
Yeah.
In
I
like
mean,
at
can't
least
go
where
wrong
I
with
am.
that. You're gonna be happy if it's
Yeah.
sunny every
And
day.
it's this pure vita feel,
Yeah.
which is really, which means this pure life. And so there is this general feeling of life is good. And that's really what attracted us to this country. We literally came here for a 3-week vacation and bought a house because we
Wow.
fell in love with the people, we fell in love with the land and just the vibration. I really feel like Costa Rica is truly one of the highest vibration places in the world. It's probably more beaches per capita here than anywhere else. It's a thrilling place.
Oh, it sounds amazing. It's definitely still on my bucket list. I'd love to visit one day. I have a friend who's there right now, and she just finished Costa Rica and she's off to Panama, but she loved it. She said it was absolutely beautiful. So I'll have to come and visit one day for sure. Yeah, I live in the Mediterranean, and same thing here. I see a lot more. confidence when it comes to body image and women and everything. Of course, I'm sure that's changing as well. But like in Spain, women go topless on the beach, and you have families together, and all the women are topless, and nobody cares, and it's uncles and aunties, and everybody's together, and the women just let it all hang out. And I think it's great because it's really good to get the sun on your boobs as well. It's very healthy. So I think it's fantastic, and to have that kind of confidence that you're there with the whole family, you just let it all hang out. I love that. So I think that's great. Dr. Ellen, so if someone's watching this and they are struggling, and maybe they're in a country where there's not a lot of sunlight, which could actually contribute, I think, also to how you feel about yourself, because generally, if you don't have a lot of sunlight and you're indoors and it's gloomy, you tend to feel a little bit darker as well. So if someone's watching this, what would be like the first thing that you would recommend to them? What can they do? What can they start doing today to feel better about themselves?
I would just encourage you to put on some music and dance, move your body.
Mm,
I think that that's the quickest way to, raise endorphins, to get your body moving. I mean, research really shows that movement, exercise really helps with body image. So I would say you got to get moving. I know when I used to live in Vermont in the winters, it's tough. Like you just don't want to go outside. And I think that a lot of women also suffer from seasonal affective disorder, and midlife women have the highest rate of depression for any group for their age and their gender. So I would say the first thing, move your body. I think I'm totally on board with you. Get some sunlight. So I don't know how you feel about those sunlights. I used to use them in Vermont where we could have
yeah,
40 days of gray. Get
yeah,
some sunlight. Also taking a look at your diet is so important. We touched a little bit on, inflammation. If you're
yeah,
going through menopause, there's so much inflammation happening. If you're stressed out, cortisol is going to create more inflammation. So eating an anti-inflammatory diet, which is a whole food plant-based diet, learning ways to manage your stress. So we touched a little bit on meditation, taking walks in nature, being with people you love. That's, part of practicing self-compassion is when you notice you're stressed and struggling, give yourself what you need. I have all my clients make a list of all the ways you already care for yourself or you'd like to care for yourself, and
yeah.
finding these little rituals, whether that's taking a bath, talking to a friend, watching a movie, playing a board game, going for a walk, playing with your pet. So find these little rituals that you can do. And I would say also to take a look at your sleep, because I think so many women, particularly at midlife and going through menopause, are struggling with their sleep. But I would say the smallest thing you can do is just play some music. I think that music raises your vibration, moving your body, dancing, and do it from self-love, not from self-loathing. Like for the first part of my career, it was all about self-loathing. It was just like, I hate my body, so I'm going to starve myself. I'm going to beat my body up. And one day, maybe I'll have the perfect body and
And
I'll
then
feel
you'll be
better about my body and
happy.
myself. I'll be happy.
Yeah.
But, I think it's, and this was my case too. I've never been overweight, but when I was struggling with things like my marriage or my identity or my career, it would go right to I feel fat. And I think that's a lot
Yeah.
of women. We focus on weight loss because it feels so tangible. Transformation and figuring out who you are and where you want to go, it's not easy. That's why, people hire life coaches, right, to help them get there faster. But it seems like that focus on I'll just lose weight. If I just lose the weight, then I'll be happy. If I just lose the weight, then I'll get the guy. Then I'll go on the trip. Then I'll feel more confident at work. Do those things now. And I would say one thing too that I'm working a ton on with myself and my clients is take agency about your future self. I think so often we just feel like we just like let life happen, right? You have control over determining who you want to be. And midlife is this time where you get the second adulthood. You get a whole 20, 30, 40 years to enjoy your life and have more meaning and purpose and just depth. And so, like, take charge of your life. Do some dialoguing with your future self. I mean, we're looking at 2026. Who do you want to be? How do you want to live? How do you want to feel? And take a step in that direction.
Do you write these things down, or do you do a vision board? What would you recommend?
I love vision boarding. I think that it really depends when I'm working with clients. It really depends on what works for you. For me and my clients, I feel like the most powerful tool is visualization.
Mhm.
Visualizing your future self. So seeing yourself, as healthier. If you're struggling with your health, seeing yourself as vibrant and feeling in good shape and eating healthy food, seeing yourself in a beautiful relationship if you're wanting to have love in your life again, seeing yourself doing work that you love or traveling, whatever that is. What happens is when you visualize, your brain doesn't know the difference between the visualization and reality. It
Mhm.
just sees this thing in the future. And so you're sending out these codes. And it's kind of like if you study quantum physics, everything is happening all at once. And I
Yeah.
know with me, when during COVID, I did all of this high vibe visualization. I call it destination vibration. I just saw myself dancing. 'Cause for me, dance is like the metaphor. If you go and see me on Instagram, I'm sometimes dancing at the beach.
Mhm.
And I visualized myself dancing, like dancing when I was a kid and dancing as an adult, doing swing and belly dancing. And I think that's the energy that attracted my man, Ken, who also loves to dance. And he, came for
Nice.
our first date with 2 dozen roses and a cooler filled with vegetables he had grown. He grows all of our food in Vermont. He's amazing. He grows ridiculous amounts of food. I think last year he put in like 32 blueberry bushes and 16 fruit trees. But
Wow.
I attracted this. I had no idea. Like, I didn't know I was going to live in Costa Rica. I didn't know I was going to meet this incredible guy. I just knew how I wanted to feel. And I
Mhm.
started to feel like my future self.
Mhm.
And so I started to attract opportunities and people and things that vibrated with that future self.
It's amazing. And you're glowing, like when I look at you, like I can see that you practice what you preach and you are just radiant and beautiful. Absolutely amazing. And
Thank
I'm so
you.
happy that you found the love of your life. It's absolutely well deserved. Um,
Not the kind of man I initially would have been attracted to
no?
in my 20s and 30s, but no, I was looking, it was the vibrational thing. So
Yeah.
yes, I'm happy to.
That's more important than anything. How important do you think are relationships, human connection, community, especially for women to have like a community of women, family, people around us? Is that important when it comes to
100%.
self-confidence? Hmm.
Yeah, 100%. And I have to say, one of the things that I hear from my clients all the time is I am so lonely. I have no friends. I meet a lot of my clients. Their marriages are kind of like their roommates and,
Hmm.
they're not intimate anymore. And, once the kids have grown, they've lost that connection, like with the schools where they used to have more friends. A lot of them like have moved to like a retirement community and are in a new community. And so relationships are incredibly important. I mean, we're really here to learn love and we're really
Yeah.
here to give and receive. And, when I look and work with people with human design, it's through relationships that we gain our wisdom. When you look at your design, you sort of see areas where your conditioning is, and it's through relationships that we grow and we change and we transform. You can't grow and change in a vacuum, right? If you're just sort of sitting in your room and you like kind of go to work and you come home and you watch your shows and you're not going to change and transform. So relationships, I think, are one of the most important things in your life. I think the most important thing is being your beautiful, authentic self, giving yourself permission to enjoy your life, and giving and receiving love.
What is human design?
So human design is a combination of I Ching, astrology, the chakras, and the Kabbalah. And what it does is it's based on the energy of the cosmos at the time of your birth and 88 days before you were born. And it basically gives you an energetic blueprint to understand your frequency. And I know it sounds a little woo,
No, no,
but
not for me.
I've used it for myself and my clients, and it just is this incredible doorway into understanding. So basically what it does, if you study the I Ching, there are 64 different gates in the I Ching, which are basically all the different human ways of being. And we all have all of them. And the various gates are located in the 64 kind of go around the wheel of the year. So your planets and the time of your birth are all in different points in this wheel. And so it gives you a lens into which of these what's called gates or spheres you have in your design. And they have, as I sort of touched on, there's a lower level frequency, which is the shadow. There's a higher level frequency, which is in the gene keys, which is a similar kind of a child of human design. There's this city, which is sort of this highest divine level. And then there's this gift. So when you notice that, oh, I'm in this low frequency level, I can use the bridge of the gift as a transformational pathway to transform that shadow. So I'll give you an example. We're in gate 5 right now. And so the gate 5 is transforming impatience to timelessness through patience. So when I notice I'm impatient, and that's a piece that, I work on, like feeling restless, feeling impatient, right? And I can be like, oh, I'm feeling impatient right now. I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to be present. I'm going to accept where things are at right now. I'm going to be patient with where I find myself in my life. Then you get to the sort of eternal timelessness where you're in the now. So it just gives you this incredible formula. I just took a group of women through kind of a fear course where we kind of looked at where fear lives in your chart and how you transform fear in your mind, in your emotions, and in your intuition and your kind of your fight, flight, danger zone. And it was fascinating. They had a lot of aha moments. So happy to do your chart. If people are listening, you can contact me at themidlifewhisperer.com. Just contact me there. And actually, I think I have a link there to get your free human design chart. So
Oh, that's
it's been a
amazing.
game
I'll
changer for
make
me.
sure to link all of those things so people can get in touch with you. If somebody wanted to reach you, do you work with people one-on-one around the world? Like, do you use Zoom or is it only in person?
Oh, no, it's not only in person. Although I'm planning retreats in Costa Rica, I work with people all over the world on Zoom. And I work with both one-on-one and I work in groups. I think people like the groups because they kind of can see where other people are at and we can all learn from each other. So I do both individual work and one-on-one work. I've been a dietitian for 30 years and I've been a coach for almost 20. So I just love, love, love this work.
And the retreats, do you organize them in Costa Rica?
I haven't done them yet. It's on
Oh,
that's part of
it's on the agenda.
it's on the agenda. It's part of I have not yet met a woman, I don't know if this is your situation, Lynn, who is needing to step outside their comfort zone. So that's one of the areas in my life that I want to step out. So maybe, probably not this year, but maybe in 2026 or 2027, I'll do some Costa Rican retreats because people are always, I think, craving coming to
Yeah,
Costa Rica.
that would be amazing. I'm sure people would love that. Sounds like a dream. Dr. Ellen, thank you so much for all the information. I'll make sure to link everything below so people can easily find you, get in touch with you, reach out to you. Also, follow you on social media. I love your posts, are always so inspirational on Instagram. And guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everyone.